Welcome to West Virginia and Commonplace. Sometimes things happen, events occur, destruction, disaster, things happen. Those things are called a calamity. The guest that I'm about to have on here, he is very prolific. He is one half of Frocast. Frocast is the dopest podcast ever on nappyafro.com. King Jerm is joining me. And this wouldn't be fitting if I didn't give a warm welcome also to Queen Jerm. I know that she is not available right now, but Queen Jerm is a big part of his show. So I do want to pay homage to her real fast. So King Jerm, can you come in real quick and let us hear your world famous AKAs?
Oh, you really want them? Okay, here you go. What's going on, people? It's your boy King Jerm, aka the People's Champion, aka the most electrifying motherfucking podcast of the day, aka the next door neighbor of Danny Tanner, aka LeBron Flames, aka the King of the Lames, aka the illegitimate son of Carl Weathers, aka Hacksaw Jim Thuggin, aka Jerm Cena, aka Pod Strickland, aka Fat Sajak, aka the Brooks Bandit, aka Mr. Sensible Shoes, aka Bill Goldberg in the bedroom, aka Smoking Jerm Frazier, aka the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be, aka Bread DiBiase, aka Rowdy Potty Piper, aka you can't fit this hustle inside of a rapper, and my last aka Ravishing Rick Rude. Now cut the music. What's going on, people? Thanks for having me, man.
Oh yeah, it's amazing to get you in here, and your royalty, you and your wife. So we're gonna get the little ass kissing out of the way real fast because that's one thing I'm real famous for.
Hey.
I love what you guys do over there.
Hey, we appreciate it, man.
And I say this, Stacy and I, we were coming out of Cleveland. For some reason, I'm always spending my time in Ohio for some reason with work and stuff.
Beautiful state.
So we're coming, yeah, beautiful state in some areas. Certain areas are just meth, just like West Virginia. So we're listening to your episode, and it was the one, oh God, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago because I was up about 3 weeks ago. And just the camaraderie. We're talking about the podcast aspect because we all know him, the Tavis Smiley, the Larry Sabisco with podcasting and journalistic integrity. You guys cover topics, right?
Yes.
Y'all put a flair on it and you make it comedic at the same time. You're the comedic relief, and then your wife comes in and she comes with a different aura of comic relief, and it blends together well. That's what I want the audience to understand. When you listen to Frocast, you are going to get a full entertainment value. You're going to get highs and lows, but you're going to get current events through your guys' lenses, through y'all's perspective. And that's something I really, really appreciate because not a lot of people can get that. And you try to tell people that you got to have perspective. You got to have a certain type of charismatic enigma, not saying that you're Jeff Hardy or anything, or your wife is. She could be Lita if that's the case, and you could be him. But having charisma is hard to have because it's not built, it's not trained. You can't pay money to get it, and you can't put it in a bottle and sell it. So one there to you on that one. Now, the first question, and this comes from one of my listeners, because I did tell a few people in the background that I was finally going to be able to get you on the show, because you do have a very tight belt on what you do and where you perform.
As you should, man. You should, man. You don't want to oversaturate yourself. You don't want to be too many places, too accessible. You know what I'm saying? So, but go ahead. Let's hear what you got, man.
Right. So before I get into that, I'm going to add into what you said. And because of you, before I even knew much about you, I heard that you were very limited in what you do guesting. And I follow a principle behind you. I only do 10 episodes a year. Now I'll do them posse cuts and extra stuff, but I always feel like I don't have too much to bring to the table beyond the normal little tricks and tips that I do here in podcasting and stuff like that. I mean, I got a personal story or whatever, but I'm mainly your technical guy. If you got some questions, you can come to me, but people come to you for everything. They want to know the business from you because you have a business model that is amazing. It's just being the dopest podcast ever. Now, my first question to you is, why did you start podcasting?
Well, we started our website, nappyafro.com, back in like 2007. Once we started a website, we only started that website so we could have a corner on the internet where we could, give our take on what was going on in music. Because it started out as a music website. And, we were doing music reviews. And I always wanted to be in radio when I was younger. I wanted to go to school. And then I remember I talked to some guy And I was just like, look, man, I want to go to, be on the radio. He was like, man, ain't no money in it. And he kind of like, tore my dream up. But when we had our website, I was just like, man, let's record our conversation. So we started like, we go to hang out and we just put the MacBook on, hit record, and we'll sit there and just talk. That's what we just first started doing, just talking. Then we started structuring like, man, we got to talk about something, or we keep these shows under 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? So we'll start just formulating like, let's talk about this, and that, and then it just turned into more of an outline of just topics. Then we was just like, man, let's add some flair to it, so we started having segments, and now it's it started in 2009 with, just like I said, that's just freestyling, talking, to now in 2022 it's a well-oiled machine. We got segments. It's set in stone. It's like, how the Bulls were in 96. Like everybody knew where everybody was on the court, and the ball just moved around fluidly. It's just like, we got to set a schedule. Tuesdays is the day we record. So don't schedule nothing on Tuesdays. Even when I have to coach football and I have a game on Tuesday night, I coach the game, or we'll move this, recording around because my voice is gone after the game. But it's beautiful. And, we just wanted to be heard and give our take on everything. And I know every podcaster feels that way. And I encourage every podcaster to talk. But sometimes some people think that they're more important than they are. Just don't ever think that you're more important than you are. That's my main advice to anybody. Because, I still think I ain't shit. I'm just a guy, man. That's my motto. I'm just a guy. So.
Yeah. And I wholeheartly agree with that. Because sometimes, and I've even had this magic happen to me, sometimes I sometimes feel like I'm a little illustrious. Sometimes I don't ever come out of the box on anything, but sometimes I even go back and see certain things and certain interactions I have in lives and how I speak to certain people. I take a step back from it because I'm like, we're all normal people. We are humans. You go to your 9 to 5, I go to my 9 to 5. We come home, we do these podcasts, and in some lights, these are personas for some people, and some people it's really who they are. The one thing that I had to learn was I got to respect your perspective on how you're podcasting and how you're doing that. But outside of the perspective, anything else is free game. And in that, I have learned that, the best policy inside this whole podcasting thing is don't politic, do what you do. I learned along the way in the last 3 years that I've been podcasting heavier, not to politic, just go with the flow, because you're going to meet good people and you're going to meet bad people along the way. So what is your thought about the politics in podcasting? And when I'm asking you this, I'm asking you something on a deep level, because you are an echelon in podcasting, even if you don't feel that way. And I ain't gassing you up. I'm just saying this. How do you feel about podcast politics?
Well, my thing is I don't get involved. Like it's a lot of people that, like, my whole thing is they like to, drum up. Like these new cats, they have a policy that all publicity is good publicity. Back in the days, you used to want to have bad pub, but these days, bad pub is good pub. You know what I'm saying? Good pub is better pub. So whether you got a sex tape leak, people talking about you. You did some dumb shit, people talk about you. You got caught on camera, you're a white person saying nigga, people talk about you. So it doesn't really matter. So once you see, and then you see it work for other people. So if I see this guy get on by doing it, I'm going to do the same thing, and maybe I get on, and maybe that'll work for me too. So that's what people doing it. And like Uncle Dolomite said, there's no retribution for people anymore. So people can say what they want to say online, and they don't have to worry about that other person on the other side of that screen coming to punch them in their mouth. You know what I'm saying? Because if you get punched in the mouth, you move a whole lot differently. And so that's another thing. So these people out here, podcasters, and I don't understand why there's problems anyway, because there's enough ears for everybody. So, you might not, you might be big in this circle, but you understand the world is a big place. You know what I'm saying? So your podcast might just be big in New York City. Nobody outside of New York might not listen to your podcast. So don't think that you're more important than you are. So that's just, I come back to this saying that again, man.
And I wholeheartedly agree with that, because like I said, everybody's going to be a success somewhere. We got regional success. I break podcasting down in college divisions. We got the ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-10. Well, no, we don't really have Pac-10, but we got enough places that you can have your ground. You can mingle, you can collaborate, you can do what you want. Because I'll tell you, the greatest thing I like is some of these podcasters out here have posse cuts. Like some people, there's a Fat Joe of podcasting out there that has nothing but, has nothing but posse cuts, like has the lineup of every podcaster on earth on a podcast. And I like that because that's what they do. In my realm, I consider myself a podcaster, but at the same time, I consider myself more of a journalist because, what I want to ask you about is, do you think there is truly a difference in podcasting between a podcaster and an interviewer? Or do you think it's the same person and we just add on extra flair because we're trying to be like Tavis Smiley and everybody else that's doing interviews?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you and look at it in the hip hop terms. Just because I'm sitting here giving you rappity rap lyrics and you're singing, and or this guy over here doing drill rap, or this guy over here doing chop the screw. It's all hip hop, right?
Yes, sir.
It's just your version of it. So I think that with all the different versions, because you got true crime podcasts, you got podcasts about TV shows, you got music podcasts, comedy podcasts, all kinds of different podcasts, but they're all podcasts. And so I think there's no difference in between them. It's all the same thing, just different versions of it. Like, I don't see a big difference in an interview podcast versus a comedy podcast or a true crime podcast. I listen to different kinds. I might be listening to what's that true crime about the guy, the sniper, the DC sniper. I forgot what the name of that series is, but I love it. They had one about a DC sniper and they did one about Wayne Williams. Love that series. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I'll just keep going. So there's all kinds of different stuff out there, but it's still all podcasting. So
okay, and I can run with that and agree with that because, like I said, it's some podcasts that are out there that's wild. So
yes.
Me and you, we got to talk about a little controversy about a podcast.
Okay.
There was a podcast that made my top 400, which is still ongoing. We had a few delays in it because I had to revamp a few things.
Yeah, people was asking about that. People was asking about it, like where it at? Where it at?
Yeah. I had
pressure on you, JR.
Well, the thing is, I got hit with COVID, and I kept it private.
Hey man, nothing wrong with that. Glad you're better, man.
Yeah, through Christmas, I felt like I was gonna die, but
everybody got COVID for Christmas. Did you know that?
Yeah, I felt like it was just a trend.
Santa Claus bought that shit and put it under the tree.
Yeah. Listen, I'm dead ass. Like I did an interview. We had this podcast revolution with 4 Too Many, and I ended up headlining it. And I'm in that thing, and anybody that's seen it, you can see like I'm a light skinned dude, so I'm turning extra red. I'm looking like the red hot tamales you eat or something, and like they didn't know that I was sick, and I explained to them at the end that I wasn't. I was like, man. So I took a little break, not from podcasting, because everybody knows that I am the Tupac of podcasting. I am out here, I do 30 for 30, 60 for 100 episodes. I try to get them out there. So here's goes the controversy. Let's talk about this real quick. And this is one that me and you can joke about, the iCarly podcast.
Oh
yes, this is one we got to put to the air because this is a good conversation between me and you. And this
is
tell
me what you like about the iCarly podcast.
All right, so here's the deal. And this is 100% because me and you had the private conversation. And one thing I want to tell everybody, podcasters, some of us in certain circles, we talk, outside of podcasting, on the phone, whatever. That podcast was actually listened to by someone else. I did not listen to the iCarly podcast. And I'm going to say that on the air because I want to be 100% honest with everybody.
Keep it 100.
Keep it 100. I don't give a fuck about iCarly. I don't watch. Listen, the only thing I watched on Nickelodeon and any of them times when my kid was coming up was SpongeBob. It was one called Invader Zim. And, they had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles jumping around. But something with middle-aged Hispanic and white girls and one groovy little black guy. I think, no, I'm getting Victorious mixed up. I don't even know what iCarly is, bro.
Yeah, because I was the one that was like, I said, I don't think you have a kid that old to be watching iCarly. So that's why I was like, why was you watching iCarly at that age? I was like, that's kind of weird.
That's a little suspect, right?
Yeah, I was just like,
Now, I will tell you this, and we're going to dive into me just a little bit real quick. I do have a petulance for movie reviews because I'm I wanted to do a movie review podcast so bad, but it's so oversaturated. So I do a few episodes here and there. So some of them ones that talk about like bad movies, like a podcast that I know of that did some black exploitation films. They talked about them. I'm not going to mention their name because they know who they are. They talked about black exploitation films, and I really fell deep into that. And I like genuinely bad movie reviews. There's a movie called The Twilight Zone movie from the 80s. Steven Spielberg did the worst movie ever on earth, right? But for some reason, I'm attracted to that. So that's my one thing there. So what's the type of podcast you listen to that nobody knows about?
Well, let's see. I listen to a lot of comedy. Let me look on my list of things real quick, if you don't mind. Give me a second to pull up, because.
All right, let me put a little filler in here, and that's one thing that I do in my episodes. And audience, this is an unfiltered episode, so you're going to get the raw me. And I do always say this, and this is one thing I want to clarify out here for people. There's no fakeness in what I do, but I learned in the type of podcasting I do, which is society and culture, I make series inside my podcast that open up different avenues that I normally wouldn't have. My unfiltered series is like your podcast for Frocast. Your podcast is like George Foreman or like Mike Tyson. It's coming through whatever. I'm kind of like Riddick Bowe, Buster Douglas type. I might get that win one time and it might look good, but I'm gonna be sheltered and I'm gonna be kind of tight about what I'm doing, because Riddick Bowe was at least tight about what he was doing, even though he got knocked the fuck out.
Who beat Riddick Bowe?
Bro, hold on. You don't know who beat Riddick Bowe? Hold on. Man, now you got me searching on the internet who knocked out Riddick Bowe.
I remember him putting the belt in the trash. I don't think he lost to Lennox. Remember, he gave Lennox the belt. Remember, he told him, if you want this belt so bad, you come get it out the trash can.
Wasn't it Evander Holyfield fight 3?
Oh, fight 3. Holyfield might have. Did Holyfield ever beat Bowe? I remember the
No,
Fan
he
Man
almost KO'd him. He almost knocked him out.
Yeah, because Fan Man was one of those fights. Hey, think about you as fucking Fan Man. You was just out there minding your business, riding your little jet propelled thing, and the wind blew you in a certain direction and blew you into, like, you weren't trying to do that. You flew into the ring and they started whooping your ass, man. Just think about that if he was Fan Man. He has one of the most unfortunate incidents in the world, man.
So I will say this though, at some point I will have to do a podcast pop up about boxing, because boxing is a dying art, and I don't care whatever this new age shit is. The boxing from at least 85 up until we'll say 99, or no, we'll give it to 2001, when Lennox was going out on top. That was into boxing for me. I mean, I give Mayweather what he's done, but we talking about heavyweights. And
yeah, the heavyweight division fucking died in like the 90s. Like after Lennox run was over, like then the Klitschko's just kept throwing it back and forth. You didn't know which one had it. You know what I'm saying? It was one of the motherfuckers. And then so, you know, it was just that's just what it was. And you know, because growing up, the heavyweight division was what it was. Not even though we had great lightweight boxers like Sugar Ray Hearns, Hagler, that we used to watch, the Chavez and everything, but it's just like we were gravitated to the heavy. We knew who the heavyweight champion was as a kid. He was on the Wheaties box. Was in commercials, shit like that. Once the English motherfucker took it over, America was like, man, fuck the heavyweight division. Then we moved to Roy Jones. You know, we was all about Roy. Then it moved to Floyd. You know, so then when Floyd retired, that was the end of pay-per-view boxing. So, I mean, pay-per-view boxing, like what boxer would make you want to spend that money to watch pay-per-view now? Name somebody.
I'm gonna be honest with you, is nobody, because what is old boy's name that's from Cleveland that got into all the trouble that was nice? What is his name? Because he ran with Floyd for a little bit.
You talking about from Cincinnati. You talk about
Cincinnati.
AD. You talk about some I controlled the fight. Hey, Jim Gray asked him, said, you was 3-3 in one of your last 7 fights. He said, I was 3-3 in one of my last 7, but I'd be 7-0 against you. Hey.
If he could have stayed on top, he would have been something that I would have wanted to see. But outside of that, there ain't nobody. I can't even name you someone that I would want to see. Because no offense to Tyson. Money? Yeah, I'm not gonna pay money. I'll watch Tyson Fury on Fox. But outside.
That's why celebrity boxing is so big now, because we like boxing in America, but we'd rather just watch some internet celebrities box versus real freaking boxers. That makes no sense. No way Jake Paul is supposed to fill an arena up and give me a boxer name now. And see, I can't even think of one off the top of my head. I mean, I know boxers because I watch boxing. Gervonta Davis, like he's a crazy motherfucker from Baltimore. I love that man, but he's a damn loose cannon. But to be a boxer, you have to be a loose cannon. You can't just say, hey, I want to be a boxer one day. A boxer is somebody that grew up fighting all the fucking time. They got anger issues. It's not somebody that picked the sport up when they were 18 and 19. No, you have to be a certain mind state to be a boxer. And that's the thing now. Like, these kids don't grow up fighting. So we're going to have some weak ass boxers coming up.
Yeah, getting knocked the fuck out by Vine stars, not even real YouTube Vine stars. These dudes was famous on Vine, of all places. Now, that's just one for the ages. So definitely, anybody listening to this later on, we will be doing a podcast pop up somewhere about boxing. We're going. I'm gonna have to nail it tight when everybody pick a boxer and we just go in and talk about it. I think that will be a good podcast. Don't nobody steal that idea from me. And what was it I asked you? I forgot.
What the question was, I can't remember. We got so off tangent. That's just how it goes. It's unfiltered over here. You asked me about, no. I know exactly what you have. Any weird shows that I listen to? Not really. Only, like I said, crime shows. That's the only weird thing I might listen to, because I know a lot of people think I don't take anything seriously, which I don't. I'm only on social media to have fun. I really don't get too political, nothing like that, because who gives a shit? You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm only like that there to have fun. And that's when you was like, oh, we had beef. I was like, what? I don't beef with anybody, because it's like I'm not there for that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Oh yeah, so let me give that funny story. My collective, we watch our social media, like we watch who follows, who unfollows, and we keep tabs on them. Like, so if you unfollow, and then you come back to follow, we're like the WWE. I'm going to send you a nice little notice saying, we wish you the best in your future endeavors if you unfollow us, and we go about our business.
That's real salty. I just want you to know that. I was just like, ooh, I was like, wow. I was like, what's this all about? Like, maybe I hit the button like in a drunken Friday night. You know what I'm saying? I was just sitting there just going through my Instagram, doing a little damn, because I like to keep my numbers like people that I only interact with. I don't have a lot of, baseless followers, you know what I'm saying? Because I got my other account for that, you know what I'm saying? We just, but if you're going to fuck with me, you're going to fuck with me, you know what I'm saying? So that's the thing, I look at it like that.
Right. So on account of that, so that's how that came out. And it's just because I'm a petty Murphy. That's all it is, I've been petty since the third grade, and it just stuck with me. So let's go into some little topics real fast. Florida State versus Florida. Which one's your team? I know which one is the Gators, but why?
I've been a Gator fan since about 1990. My uncle used to live down in Jacksonville, and just as an homage to him, I started liking the Gators. I didn't have no rhyme or reason for liking that team, and I just started liking them and been a Gator fan ever since.
And you have to deal with Georgia and all kinds of other teams in your household.
I used to live in Athens, Georgia.
Lord.
Yes. So I was a Gator fan living in the heart of Bulldog Nation. My wife graduated from the University of Georgia. And so then we moved down here to Florida, to Tallahassee. So now I live in the heart of the Knoll Nation. So it's like I've lived in all the motherfucking battle zones. I said, what's next? We're going to move to Knoxville, Tennessee, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I mean, what's going on here? So, that's my life. So I live a heavy SEC life. You know what I'm saying? It's real down here. And that's it. So no no's in my house.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you this, because, I'm from Virginia, but I live in West Virginia. So I'm technically from the north south and the south north, because the Mason-Dixon line runs above, like it's 2 miles above from where I live right now, in West Virginia. So the craziness is ACC and SEC. That's the only football we talk about. We don't nobody give a damn about Ohio State, because they show up here and there and they lose. Look at Cincinnati this year, showing up at Ohio.
Cincinnati did good, man. Come on. But the way they did Cincinnati, they bullied Cincinnati. They said, hey, little guys, y'all want to be included? Hey, take the bully. And you know what I'm saying? And then it was just like, they didn't even give them a fair shot. Like, Cincinnati was supposed to play either Georgia or Michigan. You know what I'm saying? But no, they're going to drop Cincinnati from 2 to 4. So they have to play the number 1 team and just like, look, your guys going to be at, and it was just showing them like, you don't belong here. And, and that's all it was about, man. So that was fucked up the way the committee did Cincinnati, bro. That was dirty. Shame on you, CFP committee.
And no doubt, and I will give that to you, because like a lot of people were butthurt over, they were traveling back through West Virginia, and you could just see like the flags were getting dropped in our little trash cans at the Go Mart. That's our little gas station around here. So let me ask you this: SEC over ACC? Or let's do it by sport. The only sports that matter are football and basketball, and with basketball, women's and men's. SEC in football. Obviously, they shown a dominancy over the ACC, except sometimes when Clemson shows up, which Clemson should have been in the SEC years ago. What is your thought on the SEC over the ACC?
Well, there's only 3 divisions that matter: the AFC, the NFC, and the SEC. Okay, so if it's not one of those 3 divisions, it really don't matter. And the only conferences that matter, excuse me, the only conferences that matter are the AFC, the NFC, and the SEC. Next question.
All right. So Xbox over PlayStation.
Xbox. PlayStation people are dangerous. If you know somebody that has a PlayStation, they are dangerous. Keep your kids away from them. They look, read the articles. Every time you hear about a kid getting thrown into a wall or something happened because they unplugged the game, you'll say PlayStation. PlayStation owners are losers. They're lowlifes. Stay away from them at all costs. Xbox people are like Apple owners. PlayStation people are like Android.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. And the one thing that I take from it too, I'm an Xbox and a Nintendo guy. I can read letters.
Mm-hmm.
I got out of the state of, when a kid or anyone that plays a PlayStation never got out of that stage of knowing a triangle, the blocks that you used to put in that little hole. They didn't learn how to read after that. They just stayed with circles and squares. So,
and that's what they say. That's why the PlayStation have the box and the triangle, because the motherfuckers can't read.
You're right. So we nailed that one there. Now, being a podcaster, you see lots of things and you give quite a bit of advice to people. I want to slide in a few of my podcast collide questions in if you don't care. What would be some advice that you would give to an up and coming podcaster after they are 10 episodes in? Because the one thing that I'm going to tell them, and I'm going to give you this, give you a little bit of time to think of everything you want to say. I tell them that I don't care what you do in pre-production or production, the post-production, and in your case, you got an audio guy, the end of your episode, how it comes out, how the pitch sounds, how the level sound, that's more important than, it's important to have a good podcast and say some good stuff and not be redundant, but your actual sound, your end product is more important than what kind of microphone you own, because editing can fix anything to a degree. Now, some shit it can't. And people get a little upset about that. They be like, man, I bought the Rodecaster, this, and that. And I'm like, nah, I'll show you all some nice, cheap setups you can do. Because me and you are talking right now through the Yeti microphone, through the iPad. I got the computer here just for results. So what would be some advice that you would give to a podcaster 10 episodes deep?
Don't throw a fucking party after your 10th episode. Go ahead and get the 11th episode out of the way. Don't do a season. That shit is whack. I hate fucking seasons. Just keep the shit. I hate seasons, man. What is, how do you determine what is your season? Like what, when you get tired, or, oh, this is season 2, or how many, like, what the fuck? That's stupid. This is not a TV show. It's a podcast. You don't have seasons unless it's like you have a theme, like, you're telling me a story. Like, I could understand a crime podcast having series, because, this series we're talking about the Butcher. Next one we're talking about Jack the Ripper. The next season we're talking about Martin Luther King. I understand that, but you just being you and having seasons, that's stupid. So, but nah, for real, just stay consistent with it. Try to find a schedule. If your schedule is going to be every week, do it every week. If it's going to be every 2 weeks, do it every 2 weeks. If it's once a month, do it every month, and stay consistent with that. That's my thing. Don't worry about the views. Don't worry about if anybody's listening. If you get one comment, 1 star, somebody's listening. You never know who's listening. Just keep doing what you're doing. Because, at this point in my life, podding is therapeutic. You know what I'm saying? So I love it. You know what I'm saying? I can get to talk my shit every week, and, with my wife, like I said, we've been together for 20 years. So, we just, it helps us talk through things. Like, sometimes the topics might be some shit we're going through that week at the house, and us just talking it out on the show helps us through it. So, it's like I said, it's very therapeutic for me. So just like I said, stick with it, be consistent, stay creative, and don't, it's going to be a grind. You're going to start the show out with 3 of your buddies. Then it's going to drop down to two of your buddies. Then it's going to be just one of your buddies. Then you're going to have to find somebody else. I just happen to be lucky enough to live with my podcast partner, so we always can record on schedule. You know what I'm saying? Because we live together. But I'm sure it's a damn headache trying to coordinate with somebody else in different time zones. And thank God for Zoom, because if Zoom was around when I first started podcasting, like the options were shitty. Like Skype used to be shaky as a motherfucker to record on. You could record a whole show on Skype and the bitch didn't record, or the motherfucker dropped. Or where were we? No, man, this shit was terrible. So, man, the ways to record a podcast now are so easy. It's like the new mixtape. Everybody has a podcast. So, you know, I suck with promoting. I don't really do a lot of that because I don't want to be that guy to be like, hey, listen to my show, listen to my show, listen to my show. You go to my Instagram and I'm telling you, listen to my show 5 fucking times. I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. Either you're gonna listen to it or you ain't. It's like drugs. I'm not pushing it on nobody, but you know where to get it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Holler at me when you want it. You know what I'm saying? It's there. I'm not gonna be on no billboard. Hey, I got dope. Come holler at me. Nah, I got some dope. Just check it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now I'll say this. I have a different approach. I have a guerrilla tactic when it comes to the advertising. I repost some episodes, but I'm gonna be 100% honest. And these are the secrets that need to come out today since I'm talking to you. I automate my stuff. I'm not on Instagram like that. I take the business suite. I got the ads already ready. They came out of Canva some way. And I pump them things. Like I'll take a Sunday, because don't nobody, unless you're going to church, on Sunday between 8 and 10, if I'm not doing anything, I get them ads out there at the beginning of the month and I plan them out from the month or 2 months out. My stuff is heavily automated for the simple fact that I learned that if I got to be the promoting arm for my stuff, I'm lazy. I don't want to have to keep up with the times and what's going on here and there. I just want to put it out there and let you know that episode with G Willikers is coming out Thursday, and you can hear it. You know where to hear it at. Just know that this is the episode's coming out Thursday. This one's coming out Saturday. This one's coming out Tuesday, or blah, blah. What do you think about people that use automation like me?
I use it just for my, so my posts come out soon as midnight strikes. Friday, I got a post dropping. I mean, it makes it a lot easier, when you do that. And, I'm not against it. I just don't, I'm not going to flood you with it. I don't want to beat you over the head with my content. I'm not one of those guys. Because I feel like, I don't want you to gripe, listen to it like, God damn, motherfucker, you didn't add, I'll just listen to my shit. So I have a different way of doing it. If that works for you, hey, do whatever works for you. I'm just not that guy because I don't want to be tied to my phone all day. I'm a grown man. I can't be sitting here on Instagram all day. I don't see how people do it. I mean, shout out to those, I call them Instagram and Facebook superstars, bro. The motherfuckers always, that green dot always flashing on their motherfucking ass. And I'd be like, woo, they go live every day, why are you going live with nothing to say? Like, no, I'm not gonna do it.
And I'll say, go ahead. No, I was gonna say this. It's amazing because I know some that grind, and I'm like, we're on the Eastern time zone, so I'm an old man. I'm 36 years old, so around 11:30, 12 o'clock during the week, I'm probably in the bed. But I can wake up and I can flip on my phone, and it'd be 2 a.m. and I don't know what time it is anywhere else, but I see people that been online since 8 o'clock my time or our time, 6 o'clock in the morning, our time the day before, and they still going hard in the paint. And I'm like, man, because West Virginia is the home of the Walter White meth and the Heisenberg. So I'm like, man, they must have some good meth out there where they at to keep them going like that. And I commend all of them. So one thing that is always great with me is this. I have a phrase that I stole from Eric Bischoff: controversy sells. And I believe in controversy in the idea of the guests that I have when I have on an array of guests. And I do say one thing about my podcast that is bad. I have episodes that are for some certain people. Then I have some episodes that you just got to turn off and wait until next week because it's not for you. Inside these controversy sales episodes, they're weird topics. I had Catholic female priest, which is unheard of. The Catholic society, for some reason, I don't do much with religion, but the Catholic people, they always come to talk to me for some reason. I don't know what that's about, but whatever. They like me, so I'm just going to do what they do. Now, you, for instance, you guys have had some interviews on there, and you come on lives. you have an anonymous figure. You know, you got the mask, you do all this extra stuff. And audience, I do want to let y'all know right now, I do not see what he looks like. We were actually sitting on a Zoom call, and I see Frocast. So in case I get and the one thing I do need to ask you real quick, do you mind if I take a picture of me doing an interview with you on Frocast right now, so I can put it on Instagram later, just for the simple fact so that people can know that this is real?
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. I don't mind. You don't see me. Go ahead.
Right. So I definitely will have to send a release over to you so I can produce that photo. And those are all jokes. It's all jokes here. And that's one thing about me. And I say this, some people don't realize, they think that I'm always serious about shit. They're like, you're technical. You want me to sign a release for this and that. So I'm going to talk to you about some.
People understand business, and once we start doing business, it's business. Once we're bullshitting, and people get that mixed up, and so that's why it's hard to do business with certain people, because they don't understand business. They think a handshake deal is solid when it's not, because let's say, a handshake deal turned into $3 million, and then now it's a fucking problem. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at it, hey, I did all this, blase, squaze, da, 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 da. But if we would have some paperwork, all this could have been solved. So.
Right. So let me debunk something real quick. I do run a consultant arm. It's West Virginia and Commonplace. I'm a consultant. I do help podcasts evaluate if they can monetize. And that's one thing I wanted to clear up, and I wanted to talk to you about, because me and you both had a conversation back in December, and we talked about monetization. And one thing that I want to put it on the air, and I want this to always stick with people, not everyone is going to monetize.
No.
And then I want to say one last thing, and then I'm going to give the floor to you, King Jerm. Not everybody's going to monetize with a sponsorship. There's a group of ladies that sells shot glasses. That's how they monetize. It's some hustlers on the West Coast that got really nice shirts and cups. That's how they monetize. Not every form of monetization has to come from a sponsor. It can come from the people that listen to your podcast, the intimacy you build up with them, and from there. So, King Jerm, what is your take on monetization, and who's going to get it and who don't get it?
Well, first of all, you have to see, do you have something that's worth people throwing money at you for? You know what I'm saying? Is the product worth it? Why should I do business with you? What are you offering me? So that's why a lot of people, they start Patreons too early in the podcasting game. Like, you don't even know if you have a following, but you got a Patreon, and now now you're disappointed because that Patreon is sitting at zero. Nobody's fucking with you. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that you have the audience there to do it. Yeah, you might have merch and everything, but make sure somebody's buying those shirts. You see the stat, you get the emails when somebody buying the shirt. You know what I'm saying? If you're not selling shirts, then you got to find another way. And a lot of people don't understand, if you cuss a lot in podcasts, that's another reason why I don't have certain sponsors, because I curse on my show all the fucking time. I'm cursing within the first 30 seconds of the show coming on, because I'm doing an AKA. So therefore that turns a lot of advertisers away, because I'm cursing immediately as soon as the show come on. You know what I'm saying? And but I understand that. So one time we had a sponsor, some gummy dick company, and they sent us a fucking box of gummy fucking penises, bro. I was just like, I'm not fucking eating that shit. But we took it, hey, it was a little bullshit ass thing. This one was years ago. We had another one, Ox God, some car company. They send you all kinds of shit to try to talk about on your show. We did it. I gave it away in a giveaway, and to a fan. They were supposed to tell me what it was about. You think the fan did that? Absolutely not.
Not at all.
Yeah, fans don't fucking listen. But hey, we got some fans that don't. They'll listen to the show. They won't share it. They'll buy a shirt. They won't tell nobody about the show, but they'll listen religiously every fucking week. And I appreciate that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because some weeks, you got your core listeners, the people that hit you up every week, listen to the show, give you feedback, like, that shit was funny, or this and that, or this wasn't a good show this week. Then, all that. I love all the feedback I get from my show. So I appreciate it all. Because I remember when nobody was listening, but I didn't give a fuck. I was still doing them.
Right. And that's the push that you got to give your show. And then let me tell you something about, from a listener experience, your show comes out on Friday, right? Friday is
every Friday.
Every Friday, and that's your spot. I'm on Thursdays. I don't even put a show out on Friday because I don't want it to get crushed. I might put it out Saturday, after you got your listeners, but my shit don't come out on Friday ever. That's one of the It's one of the codes in podcasting. If your show come out on Friday, just call it dead in the water. So one thing that I have to tell some people, and this is the hardest thing, and this is raw stuff. I'd never have said this, and I'm going to say this to you because me and you've had this discussion. It's some people I do have to tell them that they're not going to monetize. Hey. And that's the hardest thing to tell somebody, because here's the problem in podcasting. And I don't know how many times I stress this. Like I make videos about this. I'm about to do a 1990s R&B video with the rain and stuff falling and some dancers behind me and some linens and shit for this. Identify who your listeners are. Like I got cats like, and this is a true story. You know, we never say names anyway, but I'm going to divulge this information. There's a podcast right now that has 200,000 downloads, right? Mm-hmm. And I asked this person, name 200 of your listeners. Do you got emails? Do you got some form of knowing who these people are? And this person came back to me and said no. So one thing that me and you about to talk about, and this is the topic, this is why this is Calamity, because we're going to do some heavy shit tonight. These people buying listeners. I found out these 200,000 downloads or whatever, you know, they didn't holler at Arab money, and you know they got the Arabs doing anything, or whoever it is. I don't care what race you are, and they got the numbers jumping and they got them up. But you know, you go look on Chartable and you look on Sensible Things that will show you the breakdown of another podcast, because you can readily, anybody can go look at anybody's numbers. You can go on Chartable and different things. You got to pay for it, but you can go look at someone's actual numbers and see what they're doing and see what's going on. And that's a tip out there. So if you want to know what the next man's doing, which I should never encourage anybody to do, I always tell everybody, success is silent. Do what you do and you will be successful, because your success is not my success, and mine definitely will not be yours. So, you know, I had to go back to this person. I was like, look, you got 200,000 listeners, you're international, you're doing this, and that. And that didn't give away anything about the person. But I'm like, ain't nothing I can do for you. Go talk to Tom, Dick, and Harry. And when you can identify at least 200 people out of 200,000 or whatever number you got, that's when you can look at things. If you got 25 dedicated listeners and you know who they are, if you know that I always say it's Tommy in Toledo, Ohio. Tommy in Toledo, Ohio is listening to your goddamn show, or Stacy in Parkersburg, West Virginia is listening to your show, and that's just a chop at my co-host. You know who that person is, you engage that person, and I'm saying you ain't got to get on MailChimp and do all them automated emails like I do. I do that type of stuff just because I need to identify who's listening to my podcast. But you got to have a telephone line. You got to have some kind of way to figure out who's listening, because all the analytics in the world don't mean shit if you don't know who's truly listening to you. And what is your take on that? Like, because that's the one thing that puts me dead in the tracks on somebody. If you like, and this podcast that me and you know between us that I have talked to, and this stuff has caused beef between me and other podcasts, because I'm like, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. You're going to sign a non-disclosure with me. You're not going to leak out anything I say to you. If you do, you know I'm Petty Murphy, so you know I got a good lawyer. I'm gonna just sue you and we'll shut it down. And that's 100%. And I will say that I will sue you and just shut it down. And I have, and I was successful. Just settled right out of court. And hope I ain't breaking any confidentiality with that. But anyway, who cares? But the thing I want to ask you is, do people truly know their audiences? Like, I know out of your camp, your people, y'all know who your audience is because you guys have methods and ways to know. But is that something that is a disturbance in podcasting to you?
Yes, because a lot of people think they are bigger than what they actually are, or because a lot of see people like, I got to protect my brand. I'm like, you got 200 followers, you don't have a fucking brand. You know what I'm saying? Or you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people, they overestimate themselves, and that's where the value comes in. You can think that your podcast is worth X amount of dollars, but the true value is it's worth $10 or $20 or whatever the number is. So people need to stop overvaluing themselves. But I guess that comes with you know, you got to have some kind of confidence to be a podcaster. Nobody wants to hear somebody that doesn't have any, you know, does not, you know, dripping with some kind of, you know, you could take over a conversation and talk. So like I said, stop overvalue yourself. Stop thinking that you are more important than what you are. I stress that because that's what a lot of people need to hear. You know, you're not the first to ever make words. You can't get up there and say, oh, they talk about the same thing I was talking about. They're fucking words. You know, we're talking about the same thing people talked about 40 years ago. They just didn't record it and have a fucking podcast. So stop, you know, it's a lot to go around, a lot of content. A lot of people are going to talk about relationships. A lot of people are going to talk about breakups. A lot of people are going to talk about sex, crime, all that. So stop thinking that people is copying you or moving like you're moving. Hell, I just did a topic on my show last week. I saw somebody make a live about, and I was like, well, damn, that's the same thing I talked about on my show. That's crazy. But I didn't say a thing because, I mean, hey, they're just retelling the story again. I'm not mad about it. I'm not going to go make a live and be like, yo, you're copying my material. No, you're not. You're not copying my material. You're just doing the same thing that we did, that somebody else did, and it's going to keep going on and on and on.
Yes, no doubt in that. And that's one thing that causes all this controversy. Like, and that's one thing like I try to steer clear of. Now, some things I am not going to even sit here and lie. And this is for the record. It's some things that are good for business. Yes. And everybody knows that I am a professional wrestling promoter when it comes to podcasting. I had a little issue with a podcast in the UK when I first came out. These people came on my show and we became good friends, right? And we got to talking, and I'm the type of person, I will give you my ideas. I don't care about it. I consider myself a podcast producer at some points when I do my little shows, little pop-ups and stuff. I have a good idea, but I'm not the one that needs to present it. There is a Ringo, there's a Dolomite, there's a Big Smash, there's other people that can present that way better than what I can. So I would definitely hand over my creative idea. I don't need no credit for it. It's going to be in my collective and be shown in September or sometime. So my question to you is this. What is one thing that we can improve as a community in podcasting as a whole? Like, what is something that we all need to do to make things a little bit better for everybody?
Be willing to work together, listen, better communication. Stop trying to force relationships on people. I mean, everybody, we're not friends. We're all doing the same thing, but we all should have respect for one another. And, that's basically what it is. It's all a community. We all need each other. Like I said, most podcasters don't listen to other podcasters' podcasts because, a lot of them talk about the same thing. So why do I want to listen to you talk about the same thing I talked about? That's why I try not to cover the current events, but the way I cover the current events, I'm relaying it in another way that you might can listen to my show 6 months down the line. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's just the way I do it. So everybody, we should go ahead.
So one thing I want to give an example. On your show, you and your wife were talking about AB and quitting a job. Mm-hmm. And you related it to you, and then Queen Jerm has never quit a job. She's walked out on 2 weeks' notice. She's had parties and everything thrown in her favor. But she's
She's never quit a job. She's never heard her parents, walked in on her parents having sex. I swear she has missed out on a lot of experiences, man. I just don't understand how you have it's 5 of y'all. How none of y'all walked in on the parents having sex? That is amazing. So props to go to her parents, never getting caught.
But the one thing that I want to tie in the podcast element there is like how y'all foreshadow, like you went from the situation with AB to y'all two. That is podcasting genius. People don't sit back and just slow down because like I'm in the car, I'm sitting back eating on my chicken from out of the Walmart or wherever I done got chicken from, because I'm in West Virginia, so it's hard up for chicken. So I'm listening to this and I'm like, how did they transition? And that's what it is, a transition from AB to what's going on with y'all, talking about how you quit them jobs because you, like me, I'm the type of person, and in my younger days, I was doing up here we got a thing called Labor Ready, where you like y'all do down there.
Where you get paid today.
Yeah, I'll make that little $72 and I'm happy.
Yes.
But if it was a crazy job, like we have some slave work out here, like they hit a potato truck. The potato truck you can make $140 in a day, and this is back in like 2008. So that was good work. Yeah, but you got paid good money. Well, I'm one of them motherfuckers. I have a phrase called "fuck that shit." I don't work hard. My life, I worked hard at an early age, and then one day I realized that I got the gift of gag. So I mean, not gag. I said gab, not gag. I didn't mean gag. I don't have the gift of gag.
Hey, we don't judge anybody. It's all inclusive, man. Listen, man, live your truth. Live your truth.
So either way, I realized I was like, fuck that shit. I ain't got to do this shit. Like I was digging a ditch for no reason. And I was only getting paid $56 a day. I just walked off the job. I was working at Domino's. I was running my scam. I had them, boosting the pizzas out by just canceling the orders, and don't send me Domino's for any money or pizzas I took. It was all in good favor. We needed to eat that night. Anyway, and I was doing my thing. And then one day something came missing up in the till, like some money came missing. I said, fuck this shit, I'm out. I was like, we could do everything by the book and get these pizzas up out of here and these chicken wings. Because back then, Domino's would let you get 50 wings if you canceled the order. I was doing Super Bowl parties, getting paid on the low. Anyway, so listening to y'all say that, I related to that. I just went back, I closed my eyes for a second, and this is it ain't no light skin shit. It's just something I did. I closed my eyes and stuff. And I remembered, I was like at 21, I was at the freaking douche factory in Lynchburg, Virginia. It's called CB Fleet, right? They make the Summer's Eve. Oh, I'm in there boxing up the Summer's Eve, getting it ready for the truck. And one of them ships opened and spilled on me.
Oh, God.
And something in my life at that time would not let water spill on me. So I said, fuck this shit. I just left. Got home. My mama was like, it's time for you to go to college then. And that was the end of me working in the city. And I ended up going on down to Appalachian State. And that's life.
You went to ASU? Anyway,
yes, sir.
So you know about Boone and all. Oh yeah, Boone's
yeah.
Boom in town right there, man. Nice. You have some good times in Boone, man.
Yeah, there in what was it? Was it Nebo that was nearby? Yeah, Nebo was nearby. Shout out down there, Mountaineers, the real Mountaineers, not West Virginia. And
hey. You can be able to go back home, man. They're gonna just change your podcast to Uncommon Place.
Yeah, that'll be something like that. And that's one funny thing I'll tell you. Living in West Virginia, people think it's racist here. It's not really racist. It's just that it's Black people live in what we call hollers here. And in certain places here in West Virginia, and this is a funny topic, a lot of the people here, with the exception of the transplants that don't make it in big cities, like the drug dealers that don't make it, like the Detroit guys that don't make it, they come to West Virginia, set up shop. We also have a very, very lengthy amount of witness protection. And those witness protection are of color, and they're white and black. I mean, they're all kinds of shades. But when you go to a town of 30 people and you only see one family of Black people, 9 times out of 10, their witness protection program in West Virginia. That's one thing I do want to throw out there, and I'm not going to sit here and lie about. I just want to be honest. Because people ask me, they're like, where do Black people at? I'm like, we're in the cities. We don't live too far out. We only go 30 miles out. You don't catch us in the wrong turn areas of Elkins and stuff like that. That Hills Have Eyes shit, that is not us. We're nowhere near that shit.
Oh boy.
I mean, I gotta put it out there because, like I said, this is unfiltered, so you can get the comedic side of me. And one thing I want to tell you, it's some young guys that run with you, Big L and Pork. The cool out corner,
Black Pod Squad in the building, man.
Those guys, I had a hilarious episode with them. I think that was probably one of my favorite episodes when it came to the comedy and stuff. But anyway, wrapping around some other things. Frocast, there comes a part in my show that I do pay homage to 2020. A lot of people either they turn the TV off or they watch 2020 or you put it on something else. But you remember growing up, we watched TGI Friday because you used to watch it too with Urkel and shit.
We ain't have a choice, man. We ain't have as many channels as these kids have. They have a fucking TV channel that only shows cartoons 24 hours a day. Do you know what kind of fucking kids we would have had if we had a Cartoon Network growing up? We could watch G.I. Joe and fucking Care Bears and Smurfs,
Transformers,
and all that bullshit all fucking day long. We had a certain time that you could watch cartoons. That was like right before school, and then like right after school from like 4 to 5, or if you ain't go to school that day. I think cartoons came on like 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
like
2 to 5.
4. Yeah, 2 to 5 was like cartoon time right before Oprah came on or some bullshit like that. You could watch cartoons then. But other than that, the cartoons went off on Saturday morning about 10, 11. Then wrestling, karate came on. So we didn't have that many options. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, but that is true, because it was like, and then on ABC, it used to be The Wonderful World of Disney Sports, and they would show you some crazy ass shit like the dudes that get on the skis and go all the way down and jump up what is that, Solom or Slalom? I don't know what the fuck it is.
But slalom is the one they go between it, and then
what's the big ass jump? Whatever the big ass jump was, that was the one that I always see, and I was like, I will never do that.
Oh hell no, man! Thank God for white people, because if without white people, we would not have a lot of the things that we have. It had to be a white person to see how deep the fucking water was. Like no Black person going out there. We like, yo, we cool over here. Like fuck it, I can't just go over there. It's water right there. But a white person was like, no, I want to know, like space. All that, like that's white people. Like white people climbing mountains and shit, going like, thank God for white people, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't know about whales. Goddamn,
sonar.
Yes, all that shit. No, we wouldn't want to know, because we were like, fuck that water. We not building no boat. Like we just be like, we're staying over here. I can't go over there. No, white person was like, no, I want to go over there. You know what I'm saying? So think about the first planes and shit that just fell out the fucking sky. Like I saw a video the other day, some white guy was like in some kind of fan. He was like 17,000 feet up. He's lucky he didn't get shot out the sky for being in restricted airspace. Like, what the fuck? Thank God for white people, man.
And that's one thing I will say on here, because everyone has different categories. And, I'm in a state of 1.8 million people, which is a small number of people, but in the highest percentage are white people. I do want to say thank you for all my white people. One secret about me is, I don't do none of that Mountain Dew shit. But Stacy and I, we travel different places, and I go to pools and exotic water on the Atlantic coast. None of that other shit on the west side. Fuck that water over there. No offense to Uncle Dolomite, but
hold on. You like the Atlantic side ocean?
Oh, no, hold on. Let me tell you where. It's above the Mason-Dixon line. It's Ocean City and up. I don't do none of that Virginia Beach shit.
Ew, I don't want to be in Atlantic at all. Give me the Gulf side. Give me the Gulf. I
only
want
the
Gulf water. Yes, I'm a Gulf guy. Give me that side. I don't want to be in the Atlantic. I like blue water, green water, clear water. I don't want that brown ass Atlantic. The Atlantic is disgusting.
I know. Hold on. Let me tell you what's disgusting. And Stacy agrees with me on this. Like, I'm up here and we don't have beaches. So you go up to Cleveland and different places. We got Lake Erie and shit. That is the nastiest. That is the nastiest motherfucking water I've ever seen in my life. And she can agree with me. She can attest to it with me on that one. Like, we was out there and I was trying to do you do the little romantic pictures and stuff. But that water was looking murky and crazy behind me and stuff. My pictures was looking like I'm the toxic crusader out there.
Jesus. Condolences.
Yeah. And that's one serious thing. Lake Erie is a trashy place. No offense to any of my Cleveland or Ohio podcasts I deal with.
They say Cleveland is the mistake by the lake. Is that true what they say about people in Cleveland? I mean, people in Cleveland, let me know.
Yeah, that's one thing I will tell you. Like in my travels, right? In a 4-month stretch, like I went to Baltimore, I went to Memphis, I went to Nashville, Indianapolis. I didn't make it up to Chicago on this trip. Cincinnati, Cleveland, Toledo, and all these places, right? And out of all of them, I get to Cleveland. I'm at the stoplight, and I drive something economical, a little Mitsubishi Outlander. Stacy got the good credit, so I'm riding good. And I pull up, and what I'm thinking is going to happen is something that would happen to me in New Jersey or if I'm in Baltimore. I see somebody get their car jacked, like somebody running up on that joint. And these people weren't even in cars at the stoplight. Just take them up out the car. Not take their life, but just take them up out the car and just get it. And I froze for a second. I was like, do I help or do I not? I said, shit, my tag's from West Virginia. They always going to think I'm dealing meth, so I'm going to keep it moving. And the person scurried over to the side and just got on their cell phone and started talking and shit. And to my amazement, if I'm getting carjacked, I'm going to make sure I'm safe and I'm not getting shot. They just right there at the side of my car, and they just go on down the road after that. And I'm like, wow. So Cleveland got some issues. I think it's that Bone Thugs and Harmony type shit up there. Yeah, the East 99, gonna be missing everybody up there. So to get over into some more favorable topics and some just off the wall stuff, we're gonna make some controversy tonight. And you are prolific in podcasts, and I'm not going to ass kiss you no more. That's enough ass kissing. I gave you enough ass kissing that you're good to go. I want your top 5 podcasts.
My top 5 podcasts. Most of my podcasts that I'm gonna say my favorite are not. I don't listen to a lot of big name podcasts. Well, I do, but they're not my favorites. I really like the people, somebody I didn't know, like the 12 Cow podcast. That's one of my favorite. It's a revisionist podcast where he just, it's him by himself. He's not gonna keep you long, 30 minutes. He has a topic and he sticks with that topic. He tells a story. Then you got the Encyclopedia, Eclectic Discussion podcast. That's one of those. He is very nostalgic. I call him the king of nostalgia. Like he'll talk about the Atari or a Christmas in '85 or snacks, discontinued snacks or something like that. I really like that. It takes me back in the day. The Dr. Abrasive show, that is like 3 just dirt bags. They're real reckless and rude. Like they get on there and they'll talk about the Marvel movies. Then they do a porn one, the top 10 porn categories of the week. Like they have a smut section. Like they talk sports smut. Yeah, they talk about everything. So I love it. Good guys. Then you got the Power Lunch Hour. These two guys out of Arkansas, real good chemistry. You can tell they're real friends in real life because the stories and their chemistry, it's just, I mean, it's hilarious. Good times. Reminds me of me and another version of Frocast when it's me and my buddy Saul. They like a younger version of us, or maybe an older version of us. I don't know how you want to look at it, but and let me see my top 5. And one popular podcast I like is Roy's Job Fair. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoy that one because, you know, they talk to different people in different areas of employment, and you know, they do a scam of the week and they have a worst than first. It's a Comedy Central podcast, which I happen to, you know, be featured on one episode, which was dope. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that was, you know, I got to shout out my show, and it was real cool. Signed NDAs and releases and stuff. It was wow. I was like, oh, I'm in the big time now. But yeah, I really enjoy his podcast. Roy's a real good guy, down to earth person. You know, he did a shout out for us and everything. You know, it dropped for us before, you know, I went on the show. I mean, I asked and he did it. And so, you know, I really enjoy his show. So those probably my top 5 right there that I listen to religiously, that I listen to all the time. Yeah.
All right. So let me throw this out there because I you know, I got all kinds of random lists for stuff, and we debunked the iCarly podcast. One podcast, man, I love, and I hope everybody gets a chance to listen to, is this one called Undetermined. Death, Disappearance, and Mysteries with Dr. N. And that is not nigga. Dr. N. It's just Dr. N. So I just wanted to put that out there because I don't want nobody to think that I'm trying to PG-13 my language. Not at all. And her podcasts are short and concise. They're like 15 minutes, and they're about like some weird shit, like the disappearance at the Roanoke Island. I'm one of the people that I'm not a history buff, but if I hear something about history, I'm going to learn about that little bit of history in time.
Like my wife, I didn't mean to break in because I'm a history person too. Because the other day I was riding through town and I was just like, Ted Bundy did kill a lot of people in town. Let's see if that sorority house where he killed the people was still up. And damn, if it was still up, my wife was like, "Why do you want to ride by there?" I was just like, "That's where Ted Bundy went." Like, like she was just like, "Why are you glamorizing this killer?" I was just like, it's just part of Americana. You know, I like shit like that. I'll watch a Ted Bundy documentary or some shit about the fucking Unabomber or the damn. I love all that shit, man. You know, space, you know, alien shit. I love all that weird ass shit. So I need to find me some alien podcasts. I think I'm trying to expand my horizons. I know they're out there. I don't want to get into flat earther shit, but you know, definitely about aliens. Because you know, I really believe they're aliens. My wife doesn't. She's like, no way. I'm like, are you fucking crazy? Like, do you know how big the fucking universe is? just our universe, and then there says thousands of these motherfuckers. We can't be the only motherfuckers out here. But you know, let me take my tinfoil hat off.
I know there's one in West Virginia that's pretty good. You can give a listen. It's a few episodes here and there called Wild and Weird Radio. They're one that does that scientific stuff. You know, the only thing about out here is the what is it? The Mothman. They talk about that, and there's a movie and shit about all that. My second one, man, and it's crazy. Like, it's weird. You know, I do listen to a lot of podcasts for other reasons, but I'm deep into them true crimes. Because I know somebody that committed a heinous crime. I actually did a true crime episode on it. If anybody hasn't listened to it, definitely get into it. This podcast I'm talking about now is called Oklahoma Side: Slayings in the Sooner State. This lady, her name is Stacey Hughes. She has a PhD, and that don't really matter. But the way that she did her episodes before she went out, she did about like 27 of them. Because you know, with a true crime, it's only so much you can do because that's a lot of research and shit. And ain't nobody got time for that. And I'm trying to think. It's a few other ones that I like. And, you know, we got our normal rounds of the people that we listen to that are in our circles. And everybody does have circles, even though we don't want to. What's another one that was just Four Too Many Podcasts? Those guys are out of Ohio. And the reason I like them is because it's banter. I don't do a lot of banter. My shit is kind of formed, it's kind of structured. And those guys are kind of wild there. And they take care of what you need to hear. Them, and it's a tie between them and We're the Weird Ones. Have you heard them?
I heard of it.
Yeah, We're the Weird Ones is another one. And then my movie review podcast is Galaxy of Film. I'll look at the technical aspects of how people record. Some people record on Twitch and Discord and all this other stuff. And these guys record on Discord. And on a technical aspect, I find that pretty cool. One Fall Wrestling Cast out of West Virginia, and the reason I like it is because they do a full scope, and it's not just because from West Virginia. Maybe it is, maybe it's not.
There's nothing wrong with being biased.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it straight up. But my favorite show was the Facto Show with Troy Ave. If you ever heard of him,
yes,
the Facto Show is one that if I had to talk about somebody popular, that I would just that's the one right there. Just something the way his delivery and stuff. I liked him as a artist and stuff like that. And then another show, two shows that I'm gonna give two quick plugs to. One is Life Unplugged and Conversations with Lamp. And today, King Jerm, I'm gonna let you know, you are in that same realm as us too, because you do interviews and you got a presence too. So
I don't interview anybody. I just sit there and just talk, man. I'm not an interviewer. That's why.
Hold on. I'm talking about when we talk about these contemporaries, because people like to make comparisons and different things like that. You hear them, I hear them. But in that echelon, the way that you have developed your podcast and the way that you have certain mannerisms inside that thing, the science of it, because I'm a technical person. And then I'll tell you, the podcast, out of everything, like your podcast has been one for at least the last 4 weeks. I've gotten into on Friday. I can get it, bam. But I'm gonna say this: Too Much Game podcast. And I don't know if it's because he reminds me of Snoop Dogg, and I'm being honest, or just it's just the way that he delivers. Even though he says motherfucker that's motherfucker this and that, to put on a show that long by yourself.
I told, me and him was talking on the phone one day, and I told him, I was just like, what you do is more like gangster gospel. It's like he's up there preaching a sermon. It's like, because he has a topic of the show, and he starts off, with the topic, and he brings it around back to the topic, all like a preacher does, and he delivers it in the delivery is something that you can easily digest. Like, it's not somebody that, and that's why it's dope. And, he just so happens to call the area that he records it the sanctuary. And I was like, you're like a fucking preacher up there with your shit. And so, what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I said, I kudos to him. I can't talk to myself. But the way he does it is dope. And you know what I'm saying? So shout out to him. Dope dude, good brother there, man. Me and him talk a lot outside of the game, just on some one-to-one shit. Like, he's a real good brother, man. So I fucks with him. The homie Young Dolomite, Uncle Dolomite, whatever you want to call him. I don't like calling him Uncle because I'm older than him and shit. So that's why.
Yeah, so he just
I just call him Dolomite.
Yeah, wholeheartedly. I do like what he has going over there. And then another one that I just throw in there, the Uncomfortable Conversation podcast. Eric from Grown Man Logic. One thing with him, and I'll just throw this out there. He's got a nice catalog, and their group is whatever the group is. He had this episode called "Welcome to My Downfall Depression," and I'm one of the mental health buffs. I like to have mental health maintenance and all that stuff because that's just what I do in my area. And that was a real strong a really strong episode. He came with that one and the one before, "Welcome to My Downfall." So shout out to him. So let's get